Well, welcome to our council preview program. The council meeting takes place September 9th. We're doing this ahead of time to give you a bit of information that's going to take place at this next council meeting. And as always, Steve Barg, City Administrator, and Mayor TeStrake.
Good afternoon, Tom.
With me.
Good afternoon, Tom. Thank you for having us again.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, we're going to give everyone information, a heads up what's happening. A little bit from you, Mayor. You're all give a report, but there's a little piece you want to talk about.
Yeah.
There's definitely an important piece I'd like to talk about. The week of September 15th through the 21st is National See Tracks Think Train Week. And now with our new tracks in place on Central Avenue, hopefully that'll make it even safer. So look for the proclamation next Tuesday night, and the next week will be Train Week. Well, Train Week is really every day, but we need to really observe it so that week.
Yeah.
So if you want to whistle, sound like a train that week, great. Please do it, because I may do that Tuesday night and have everyone else do it with me. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Railroad safety is so important, though. I know there have been accidents here and in other parts of central Wisconsin, and it's just something we want to avoid at all costs.
Correct.
Yep, our goal is to get the message out
Yep.
best we can. We'll do other means besides the proclamation over the next week or two as well.
Right.
All right, anything, Steve, that you want to bring up in your update, or is that?
Well, I guess I'll just mention that, some people may have heard it by now, probably most people haven't, that we had to cancel our strategic planning meeting for Saturday, September 6th. Now, people may be seeing this broadcast after Saturday, in which case it's already beyond that date, but had an issue with a quorum, can't meet without a quorum. Still committed to the strategic planning, looking at follow-up dates so we can talk about long-term vision. But you can't meet if you have fewer than 7 members of the council, and we had some things come up where we couldn't cross that bar. So we'll reschedule. We're working with a facilitator, but we do look forward to having those sessions come up.
All right, thank you. Let's go right into our consent agenda. Board of Public Works met on the 2nd of September and looking to purchase a vehicle for the city assessor.
Yeah, the city assessor has had a city car for a long time. They're out in the field driving around, meeting with people, looking inside their homes, making valuation assessments along the way. And so they need a decent car. And they've had one for a long time. It's been a 2009 Chevrolet. But it's done its time, and it was not in great shape. In fact, the folks who take care of it over at the street division said it's really not roadworthy anymore. And when you hear that, you gotta believe that you need to find another one. So we've kind of limping along. I've had some help in finding a temporary vehicle, but not one for the long haul. But we're working with the street division, and they have what we call a 701 fund. It's an internal replacement fund. What this is, when we buy a car or a piece of equipment, we begin in the years following putting money into that account so that when that piece of equipment or that car needs to be replaced, there's dollars there. Kind of like you would do at home. If you needed to have a car replaced in 10 years, you might be putting a little money aside every year to be able to buffer a little bit the cost. So we've gone up what's called VendorNet. And what VendorNet is, Tom, it's a place where they get bids and proposals from all over the state. And that way they do our procurement for us. We've had a lot of conversations about procurement lately. And a good conversation about we're looking at multiple bids. Well, they've done the work. So when we get a low bid from VendorNet, we know that there have been others considered. And the one we want to go with is it's called a Chevrolet Trax, TRAX. It's a 2026 vehicle, 4-wheel drive. I should say front-wheel drive. Anyway, it's a new vehicle that they can use for all the work that they do driving around town. And that'll be something roadworthy that Keith Pugh, mainly, probably our deputy city assessor, will be using. So we're glad they found a way to finance it through the 701 fund, and we look forward to getting that vehicle in the fleet here.
All right, that is in our consent, so that will have to be approved by the council.
Correct.
But was approved by Board of Public Works. All right, then we've got a couple other things in here that were at Board of Public Works. RFP for a chimney liner. I just posted that RFP yesterday. I remember it.
Yeah, they're both maintenance issues. And when you have buildings, you have to repair them. And the Oak Avenue Community Center is a good building for us. It's been in use for a long time. In fact, it's a 1941. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable, right?
That building is 84 years old, but it's still doing good service for us for a variety of reasons. Recreation, also the elections happen there. But they found a leak in the ceiling tiles, and then of course when you find that at your home or anywhere else, you have to look into what it is. They found that we really need a liner for the boiler chimney. And so got to get into that and put that in. We're looking at trying to find out if we can get a quote for that and get that done. So looking for authorization from the council to look for proposals and take the best proposal and get that work done so that as we get into the winter season, which we're very close to already, that will be in good standing. We really want to get the work done during October because after that, you have the issues that come with snow and ice.
Right.
And so hopefully we'll get this rectified.
So how does the city handle when these things come up? We're not planning. It's not in our CIP. Probably we didn't think the chimney was bad. So we get a proposal.
Yep.
How do we pay for it?
It'll likely be a budget resolution unless there's money in that account to cover it. Okay. And if you look at the total budget for the Oak Avenue Community Center, it's only about $40,000. It's heating and cooling and stuff like that. So undoubtedly there'll have to be a budget resolution done to move monies subsequently when we have a good bid to cover the cost.
But you go by that place every day, and usually it's something going on.
Something's going on, yeah,
There is.
pretty much all year round too.
Yeah.
So it's been a great asset for Marshfield. How many years? 84?
84 years,
Wow.
1941, World War II.
That was the armory, right?
Correct.
Yes,
Yep.
correct.
Yes,
Correct.
it was. Yes,
And we still have an armory, but it's over by the airport now.
correct. Yep,
Yeah.
across from the airport.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and there are. I didn't know this for a long time, but I think of elections and I think about some of the recreation. They'll do volleyball and stuff in there. But yeah, there's craft shows, gun shows. A lot of people make use of that building
Absolutely.
on a
Yes.
regular basis.
There's a lady who brings in bouncy houses for
Oh,
the
yeah,
kids.
yeah.
A few Saturdays out
Yep.
of the year. Actually, quite a few Saturdays. I see that sign up there.
Yep.
And they use it for volleyball, and so it's definitely used, and it needs to be continued, definitely
Yep.
maintained. Yes.
Maintained. And that's under Park and Rec.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Well, there's another item for Park and Rec. They have a leak
Well-
at the other community center, which is the newer one.
Right.
Yeah, I would
The
say
old one. Yeah.
I would say when it rains it pours, but that would be a very bad
Yeah.
thing to say, wouldn't it? At this
Yeah.
point, this one's not even coming from rainwater though. We don't really know where it's coming from. For several months now, the Parks and Recreation Director has been working with a number of people trying to figure out where the leak is coming from. And if you look at the memo that he wrote for the Board of Public Works, they've tried remote water line, they've done pressure testing, look at the supply lines, they've shut off the building water to see if that would stop it. They've done lab testing, they've shut off the fire suppression line, and they've not been able to figure out where the water is coming from. So literally what they're gonna have to do is go ahead and begin excavating parts of the basement. Picture that one. So right now we don't know what the cost is gonna be. Justin Casperson, the Park and Recreation Director, is estimating maybe $10,000 to $20,000, but it's still up in the air. And then even after we get it excavated and find the leak, then we have to repair it. So it's kind of a little bit of an unknown, but we can't go on and have a building that has a leak of water getting into, it would create mold, it would create
Correct.
Any number
Already
of-
it's starting a little, so yeah, they
Is it
need to
beginning-
nip it in the bud before it gets to the point of being bad enough that they have to do a lot more. So it needs to be done.
It does. And this time will likely be in the same boat as the Oak Avenue Community Center repair. If it gets up around $20,000, I don't imagine that they have a budget line item with area in it to make it work, capacity. So it'll likely be a budget resolution.
Okay. Just
But-
visualizing me as
Yeah.
a visual person, and most are, we don't really know the size of the leak, or we do, but we're not really, what, do you know? You made it.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
We know that the amount of water that's getting in, but how it's getting in and
Yeah,
why it's
no.
getting in.
Right. And they have.
But I didn't know, it's like a
Picture-
flood or,
Well, it's
No,
just a constant drip. They
It
said
is.
that the carpet is wet,
Yep.
which is
Okay.
bad. So it's just,
sure.
it's something that's gnawing under there. That's just not, and yeah, it's odd because they've tried, like Steve said, everything,
Yeah.
and none of it works. So they're going to have to excavate, and oh boy,
Okay.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I sometimes watch these TV shows that are like the cold case kind of thing, who did it.
Yeah, I've been
Right.
And it's kind of like that. I mean, where you have to find the clues.
Correct.
And they've been trying to find every clue they can as to where that water's coming from. And it's kind of sad that it comes to excavating part of the floor, but that's kind of where they're at right now.
Right. Now, that building was it the library?
Was it the yes,
Former
it was,
library.
Yep.
Okay.
Built in maybe the early 60s. I don't know.
Probably something like that. Yep. And yeah, so it's,
Yeah.
and who knows? It'll be really interesting to see what it really is under there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it will. And I want to give kudos to the people who had the vision back then. And I was here too. I was part of it. But to take that old library and make it into the community center.
absolutely.
What a beautiful building.
It's been just utilized so much, and it's
Oh.
just it's great.
You have
Great for the
a lot
community.
of different groups in there. Seniors are in there. Park and Recreation has their offices there.
Yep.
It's been a very good building for us.
Okay, well, let's move away from the consent. We did not have a finance meeting, so nothing in there at this time. So presentation of candidates, Marshfield Utilities. We're up for one person of a 7-year term, right?
Correct. And just to start the ball rolling, when we went from a 5-member board to a 7-member board a couple of years ago, we added 2 council members.
Yep.
So that you add people, you have to make it the same number of years as the number of people. So they are now 7-year terms. It's probably the longest terms I've ever heard of, apart from the Supreme Court or something, which is no term. But Paul Kapela's turn is up. He has indicated that he wants to be considered. As we're sitting here doing this program, the deadline may not have passed yet. So maybe we'll get more, but we have to pick one person, or the council, I should say. This is the one appointment, and probably the mayor will mention this in a minute. The one appointment that is not made by her is based on election of the full body.
Correct. So we'll see what happens Tuesday night.
Yeah, and they're not intending to make a decision on Tuesday night. They could, but it's more likely that they would vote on it on the 23rd.
23rd.
Correct.
All right, we'll see what happens there. I'm just going down Adler Trail. That was brought up, denied, or I don't want to say denied. Did it fail?
It didn't pass. It might have been
pass.
2-2 or maybe 3-1 against. I don't remember.
In a council or just finance? I don't remember.
It was finance.
Okay.
Yeah, it never got beyond finance.
Okay.
Here's what's kind of going on this. I'll try and be as succinct as I can, but the Adler Road Trail project is taking that trail on the south side of Adler from, where is it? I had it in front of me a minute ago, out to Weber Park, I believe, from the Sycamore area. Anyway, good project. We're trying to connect all our trails. That's something the council's been working on for a long time. But, as you go through the years, sometimes the cost increases. This project was awarded a grant in 2020, so 5 years ago, for design and construction. Now, when we get a grant from the state of Wisconsin, it pays for 80% of the cost, which is a great deal for us.
Absolutely.
We get that on some of our street projects. And how do you turn away 80% funding, right? So, but the thing is, over time, sometimes the costs go up, and it did here. If you look back at the memo that Jennifer Selensky, our finance director, did under analysis, it was initially supposed to be about $380,000 for construction. By the time the grant award was made, the estimated construction cost had been revised up by about $100,000 to $478,000, and ultimately it went up far beyond that. And so where the city had planned $135,000 as our share of the design and construction, ours ended up going up considerably, and we have an $85,000 shortfall. Now, I think the point of the council members who were not happy at that meeting really wasn't that they don't like the trail, or that they don't think the trail should have happened, but they had concerns that they weren't kept in the loop when the changes were making and the costs were going up, and we totally respect that. There's been a turnover of staff along the way. We're on our 3rd public works director since the project began, and other staff has changed as well. But we want to keep a good record of the increasing cost, and we want to keep them apprised as to what's going on, and that didn't happen as well as it could have. But now the contractors have been paid as required by law. We have to do that along with the state of Wisconsin. And what we're trying to do is get a budget resolution passed to move the money from contingency to the proper account. And that's important for when we go to the audit in early 2026. The auditors are going to want to see how the monies were spent. And they were spent out of a public works account or a park and recreation account, not out of contingency directly. So the council did not want to pass the budget resolution. They felt uncomfortable given the way this has gone down. Understand it. But then it was requested by, I think, Councilmember Tompkins brought it up. Said, look, I want to see this one again because we need to account for this as part of the financial audit and our books. So we're going to talk again about whether the council would be willing to move $85,000 from contingency to the proper account so that the bookkeeping records sort of reflect what actually happened in the end.
Okay. So basically it's it's already paid, right?
It's paid, yeah, it's been paid.
So it's been paid. So I guess to me, well, I don't want to get into it because it's not my decision, but I'm just saying it looks like there's a different issue here,
there is
a different item to be talked about
Correct.
down the road. Let's get this one solved. You have to do it.
Correct. Yes. There's no question.
Moving forward, that there's something has to be fixed. You can
Right.
take this as an example and put
Correct.
it on the someone could put it on the agenda.
Yep.
Figure something out.
Yeah, and I completely respect and appreciate Councilmember Spiros and O'Reilly. Their comments were good. This isn't the way it should have gone down. I think we've talked about that with procurement, where we've been getting to a better place over time as far as how we go go out for requests for proposals, do contracts. So it's been a process. But in this case, I think it would be appropriate to make sure that the money and our books are shown as being handled in the right accounts. So I'm hopeful that they will see fit to approve the resolution this time.
Okay. All right. We'll see where that goes. Let's talk about the RFQ coming back for Weinbrenner facility that we had one, right?
Yeah, and I'll start out, and again, Mayor, jump in where you want to. We've been working with a company called Jeffers out of the Milwaukee area since February on a project to redevelop the Weinbrenner building, the current building, the one that they're about to leave in the early part of 2026. And the plan was for housing, for rental apartments, mostly affordable, and maybe some market rate mixed in there. And ultimately, the council on August 12th decided that they didn't want that. They wanted to see maybe market rate apartments or maybe higher end apartments, maybe some mixed use components, maybe a coffee shop or a gift shop or a cafe or something like that within the building, and make it kind of more of a mixed use creative project. And you do see these sometimes if you go to Milwaukee or Chicago or Minneapolis, where they're able to do that. The developer we were working with wasn't opposed to those kind of ideas, but said, if you're going to do that, who's going to finance it? Because a lot of the money that they were getting for the project was coming from the state, and it was tied to the lower to moderate income population. So that would leave a big gap that they'd be looking to the city to fill at least some of. Anyway, the council wants to look at other ideas. So when we first went out for qualifications, Tom, back in 2024 in the fall, we got 5 companies that submitted responses. 4 of them were inviting enough for us to say, yeah, we want to talk to you. We interviewed those 4. So now we're going to go back to the well and say, okay, we're basically doing the same request for qualifications, except now we've modified it to make it clear that as opposed to we're looking at anything, we really want proposals or responses to focus on market rate apartments or higher. And then again, if possible, to have other elements in the project. And we'll see what we get.
Correct.
We could get, I don't know, maybe none, or we could get a whole lot. But we'll be working on this during the fall. And so this is council's chance to look at it and say, okay, does this say what we want it to say before we send it out to maybe 100 or more firms in the upper Midwest? That's what I sent it to the first time, 100 and something. Before we send it out to everybody we can find or put it in different publications, does this reflect what we want? And if it does, then we'll ship it out. If they've got questions or changes, we'll deal with that.
Okay. So when you're saying they're hoping to have market rate, which is a little bit above average or average.
Yeah.
Isn't there certain grants that doesn't meet? Isn't there like grants that these developers would use, maybe more low income housing, but it sounds like we aren't going to be able to, we ain't going to go that route. So they can't use those grants.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue.
There are a couple of programs. The main one is low income housing tax credits. And that, truthfully would have paid for about 40% of the cost of this redevelopment project.
Right.
So, it's fine that the council wants to look at other alternatives. I totally understand that. But it'll be interesting to see how developers finance the projects, given the fact that a lot of the money comes from those types of programs.
Just one other question I asked, what is the need in this community? Do we know what the need is? Is it low income, middle?
We need a little of everything. So I guess it's okay.
Okay.
And they want to, I guess, as I see the council, they want this to be the start of 2nd Street. They want it to be the big boom,
Right.
which I can understand that. Yes. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. I just want to make sure there was a need there.
Yeah, there's definitely a need for
we did a housing survey.
We did.
Correct.
We
Yes.
had one done by a company called Bowen, and there's definitely a need for lower to moderate income housing. There is. I think what the council, at least some of the members told me, and maybe told you too, Lois, they said, we want affordable housing. We just don't think that this is the right place.
Is the right place.
We want this to be kind of a different kind of kickoff to that corridor. Yep. And I respect that. Well, I can understand why the first project they'd like to see something different.
Okay.
And I guess we'll just see what we get.
All right. So how long would that be out for a month?
Yeah, I think we're looking at maybe signing on with somebody, hopefully in maybe November, I think, or something like that. I have to look back at it, but it'll take a little while to get them out there and then take responses and then go through them. Probably have a committee like we did last time. Okay. I know you were involved, and a couple members of the council, a couple members of CDA, and we interviewed people. But during the rest of 2025, we should be able to pick somebody that we'd like to begin working with, hopefully.
Okay. All right. Move on. A runway project. I think that is to extend the runway, brought up by Alderman Coran.
Yeah, and this came up in the capital improvement plan conversation of the July 31st. And, it was brought up by Natasha Tompkins, and I don't think she's against the idea of improving that runway. And truthfully, we get grant money from the federal and state government to help. Her concern was that she wants to see some of these projects, and that one she flagged in particular, the local share, couldn't we find a way to pay for it rather than borrowing or something like that? Could we find other monies elsewhere to help cover the city's portion of this? I think she looked at some of the expenditures that are in the airport budget or the airport long-term capital plans and said, they got a lot in there. Is there some way we can find some alternate financing to help us? And so I think Councilmember Cran is thinking, whatever we do, let's get this back on the plan.
Correct.
Let's make sure it gets approved. And we don't want to look away from federal and state money.
No.
You go to the airport meetings,
Correct. Yes,
and you know what a big percentage of the funding comes.
Correct. It comes from
grants.
Yes, absolutely. So we just need to help move this forward and just keep it going. We do have a lot of people use the airport. It's unbelievable. I never would have expected that, but and just because you don't live here doesn't mean, and your taxes help pay for it. People that come to the airport go to restaurants, go shopping, do this. So the money does stay here. A lot of it that people do. So we'll just keep it in our forefront and hopefully make it happen.
I've been here for 15 years now, and I didn't know for a lot of the time I was here how much that airport is in fact used.
Correct. And also they bring hearts and lungs donors. So that's another big
huge.
deal that
That's huge.
we need to have this as part of the plan.
Yeah.
If it goes away, we will be not in good shape with that. And that's probably the biggest thing that they're talking about. They have jets that come in. I had an interview with Jeff earlier this week with Coffee with the Mayor, and he was telling me that at one point they had 5 jets in line, and they had 5 different body parts that they had to take from
you're kidding.
point A to point B. Yep. So we definitely need this, and it's just, and you never know what kind of plane's going to come in. So sometimes, just because there's only 2 airplanes that really need this runway extension, we get this, there's going to be more that are going to come in. It's going to make the city of Marshfield more. So so hopefully people are aware that that's part of the issue here. That is what is the biggest issue when I look at this situation.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that, because a lot of people look at our airport and they think, well, it's a small airport. People go to CWA. What's the big deal? What do we do here? And they don't know
That's correct.
the amount of traffic that occurs here at the local airport.
And the things that we do.
And the things that we do at that airport.
Because you don't know what the future. I worked in Wisconsin Rapids. That airport went right through the roof with Sand Valley.
Yeah, right.
They had to do all these improvements.
Correct. Yes, sir.
It would be the same for us with that certified site.
Yeah,
Correct.
We could get
Yes.
indeed.
somebody in here
Absolutely.
that needs something like that.
Right.
So
You're right.
You don't, and that's what it's a selling point.
Absolutely. Yes.
You're losing a selling point.
Yep.
Not that I want to interject myself. I don't normally do that, but I just feel
Correct.
it's a great selling point.
Correct.
Yep.
And you got a great manager that does this.
Yes.
Yeah, we
They've
do.
been doing it for
Very
so
fortunate.
many years.
Long time.
Yep.
I read about their history and
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
Great family.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, very good. So you're lucky to have that.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I don't know how to run an airport. I don't think you do either.
No, I can't imagine how I would do that. No.
Yeah, that's beyond my.
Go. Okay, you can take off now.
Yep,
No,
go
stop.
ahead.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here we go. We got another piece in here that's been discussed, hasn't come to council. Track hours of exempt workers, employees of the city.
Yeah, this was brought up by Councilmember O'Reilly a little way back, and we did talk about it at the August 19th Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee meeting. In fact, I've encouraged council now to, if they weren't at that meeting, to view the video, because we don't want to rehash everything that was said in that 45-minute discussion. But here's what's going on. Right now what we do is we have people who are hourly employees. They punch a clock, and they get paid based upon the amount of time that they work. And they work 40 hours. Maybe they work overtime. It's 42. But they punch in, they punch out. And our exempt employees, people who are salaried, they don't punch a clock. And so typically they just write 8, regardless of whether, if you're here 9 one day and 7.5 the next day or whatever. That's how we do it. The premise is that most salaried employees work at least 40 hours a week, maybe more. You do whatever you need to do to get the job done. But what Councilmember O'Reilly is saying, well, wait a minute, why don't we track their hours? There's other things we could use it for besides even checking up on them. What if we have to decide if we need more employees? We find out that somebody in the planning department is working 65 hours a week. Well, that maybe suggests that we need to have another staff person. Along with that, though, he also has said it's transparency. We should be able to verify for the public that, in fact, people are working the number of hours we expect from them. Sarah Dressel, our HR director, went through a very good presentation. She said, okay, I've checked with other cities. I've checked with our legal counsel. You can do it. It's legal. Here's the pros and here's the cons. There's things that are beneficial. There's things that are maybe potentially problematic. And the body talked about it for a while, and then they finally decided, wait a minute, why are we just doing this, the 5 of us? Why don't we get the full council involved? So they decided to send it up to the full council. So we're going to have a discussion, and I think they'll decide what they want to do on Tuesday night. From staff standpoint, I think we kind of feel that salary people are hired to do a job. If they're not doing a job, we should treat their performance and deal with that. But you can make the argument that maybe people want to know how many hours people are working. So we'll see where that discussion goes on Tuesday night.
All right. Well, I was just paging here through a presentation. I don't know if that'll be shared during that or that's just in the packet. I'm not sure.
Well, it was the presentation that Sarah gave at the meeting. I may well put it in the packet again, just as a reminder to the elected officials who are not at the meeting on August 19th.
All right. We'll see where that goes. And one last item, as we're getting close to the time, talk about that budget coming up.
Yep. It's all balanced. We're done. Yep. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's not. It's not.
Well,
Every year, Tom, at this point in the year, we start out with a pretty significant deficit, which means our expenses are greater than our revenue. And we're there again. Jennifer is going to give us an update of where we're at. We've been meeting with department heads, like yourself and others, looking at ways that we can narrow that gap. We're looking at revenues, trying to make sure that we're looking at opportunities where we can. So we always find a way to come back into balance. Sometimes you wonder how. You look at the first time when you get it, when they deliver it to me at my desk, I'm like, how is this ever going to work out? But you get people together, you get some good minds together, and you're usually able to bring something to the council that is at least worthy of consideration. They might say, no, I don't like this, or I don't like that, but at least you've got something that they can work with and turn it into a final product. So Jennifer will give a short update. It'll be fairly brief. It'll just talk about where we're at in the process, what we found so far, and what we're doing to try and help it balance.
Okay. Now, some of that information just is not from what our state...
From state aid and stuff.
That's hard to determine.
It is. Even transportation aid, we don't get that till the first week in October. So really, we're going to be giving the budget to Lois and her peers with an estimate of transportation aid. So when we get the final, it might go up 100,000 or down 100,000. I wish the state would give us that earlier, but we work with what we've got. We try to have contingencies, and then we get ready for the meetings.
All right, so we'll listen to that. And really, there's a few closed items, but nothing real major on that to talk about.
No, we have more interest in Daniel's edition and talking about possible sale there. But otherwise, I think you've pretty well covered it.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming. We'll see you on the 9th.
Yes. See you Tuesday night
as well.
Or from your couch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. Otherwise, come on down to the council chambers. It'll be open. There's plenty of seating. And take part of the council meeting. Thanks for joining us.